Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My, oh my, oh my, oh my. It feels like a lifetime since I sat down in front of a camera. It feels like a lifetime I've actually spoke to you. The last time I spoke to you, there was a few drinks involved. McGinley, you're on that side of the screen there. I don't know if you've seen my post-match reaction video. I was absolutely levered, but I feel like I did a good job at coming across as honest as possible, as reasonable as possible. I said things how they were, but today we're here to do that with a sober edge to it. We're going to do it without a drink in us, even though I've had many people telling me do all the match reactions with a drink in you from now on, but we'll wait and see how that goes. Ryan, this is the first time I've pretty much spoke to you since the game on Wednesday. How you doing, mate?
Pretty good, mate. I was a wee bit confident before the game, and then after about 4 or 5 minutes watching the game, I was like, "We're doing this. We're doing this tonight." They're G'd up. They're ready to go. So proud of the boys on Wednesday night. They were absolutely phenomenal. I felt rough for about 2 days after it, and I didn't even have that much to drink before the game.
Oh Christ, Ryan, I'm telling you.
My usual fruit ciders, but no, it was a great night, and I'm still buzzing off of it. I've watched every bit of Celtic media that's came out since. I think I must have went through about 5 or 6 different podcasts already since the final whistle.
It's crazy the amount of time I've spent on Twitter since Wednesday night, just looking at all the reaction, taking it all in, having a good laugh alongside it. I'm unfortunately, still recovering, I would say. It's currently 3:25 on Friday afternoon, and I feel like I'm still not quite there. I'm going to have a 21st tonight, and the prospect of me going and drinking is very, very slim, but we'll see. We'll get on with it as we normally do. But what a day. It was fantastic, right? Just the day in general. I think having that midweek nighttime fixture, it was something different, a brilliant experience. I bumped into so many people on the way to the game that obviously recognised me from the channel, and I was sitting talking away to them. Everybody had a drink in them. Everybody was in great spirits. There was a real energy around the fans that this time last year we did not have, and that was the one thing that I wanted to drive this video to be about, was the difference in Celtic Football Club at the moment. Everybody involved with Celtic, from staff to supporters to players, everybody, it's just feel good everything, isn't it? I feel like there wasn't one gloom phase. I mean, there was no need to be, but even good, everybody was just so happy going to that game on Wednesday, and it's just a great place to be right now compared to the disaster that was last season.
Yeah, it's night and day. I was going to go back to obviously that jolly feeling. It helps when the Brazen Head was at full capacity at 2:20 or 2:53 or whatever it was. You knew it was going to be a really, really good atmosphere. But everybody's on the same boat now. I think any doubters aren't doubters anymore after watching us on Wednesday. We needed that statement win, and we got that on Wednesday, which is absolutely brilliant. Everybody's on the same boat. Everybody wants to back Ange, and we're getting the ocular proof now that things are working. Things are on the up here, and it doesn't look like we're going to stop either. It's I know that could be famous last words, and we could flop at Motherwell at the weekend. But do you know what you see right now? Everything is so positive. I'm so positive about this team. You look at the amount of signings we've brought in. How many of them have hit the ground running? I mean, it's incredible. Even guys that haven't been doing as well, they played well the other night. I mean, even James McCarthy done well.
I was about to say.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm so buzzing right now. I'm so happy to be wearing like my Celtic training gear now out in person again. I feel like I've got merit.
Last year it was a shameful thing showing that you supported Celtic.
I know. I feel bad in saying that or alluding to that.
Of course not. Never.
It was embarrassing last season, the lack of fight, but we've got the fight back, and just brought you could say he's brought the thunder back in a different sort of sense, and that's quite ironic because of the previous ones are saying that. But the thunder is back, and Ange has brought it.
You said one thing about I can't remember your exact words now, because it was towards the start of what you said. No, you said something about proving people wrong or whatever. And one thing that I just absolutely adore about this team and this moment on Wednesday night and that game on Wednesday night, and one of the massive talking points for me is just shutting everybody up, because all season long we have been hearing manager sacked by Christmas. We've been hearing never going to win the league. We've been hearing never going to be top of the league. We've been hearing the defence is incapable of defending. When in reality, we have the best fucking defence in the league. We have the best fucking manager in the league. And ultimately, we are the best fucking team in this league. That is what it is right now. That is it right now. And I just love watching everybody. I love watching Chris Boyd. I love watching opposition fans. I love everybody who had so much doubt placed on this Celtic team being absolutely shut up by a guy who was meant to be sacked by Christmas, Ryan.
This nobody who came from Australia, nobody knew about him.
Hey, listen, before you go any further, I'm not going to sit here and act like from the start I was convinced. I'm not going to sit here and act like I knew he was the answer, because we all had doubts, but there was certainly people who wanted him to fail, and we were never in that boat, Ryan.
No, never. When Ange Postecoglou, if you even look back to the podcast, when Ange Postecoglou was signed, we were a wee bit underwhelmed, but at the same time, we were willing to give this guy a chance because, you know, we needed a breath of fresh air. And my God, this guy is a breath of fresh air. The comments that he makes after the games, the way he joins in with the lap of honour. Previous manager didn't do that. I've got to put that out there. He didn't do that.
He'd done it in Rome, right enough. I remember him coming over in Rome. That was a moment. But you look at Ange, just feels like a good point to throw this up on screen. This is Ange Postecoglou's comments after the game on Wednesday night. I'll throw it up. We had 60,000 people in. I'm sure a lot of them walked in with problems in their life. Tonight, we made them forget that for a while, and that's something special. I mean, it's a phrase that we throw around, but he gets it, mate, doesn't he?
Just shows you how little you don't need to be a so-called Celtic man to buy into this so quickly. It's quite captivating. The fans, you have 60,000 fans. I mean, that the other night, if you weren't a Celtic fan before and you were a neutral watching that game, you'd be a Celtic fan after it. Yep. I mean, the atmosphere was incredible. Even here, even 20 minutes ago, Matt O'Reilly's press conference, his mum and dad were in the crowd and they were engulfed in it by the end of it. They were cheering their boy on, wanting to win. I mean, talk about hitting the ground running for certain players, by the way. I know we'll get onto that in bigger detail, but some of the players, they stood up and they were counted for. And it just shows you, when Ange is bringing these players in, he's looking for the people as well. He's looking for these determined characters. Yep. It's definitely shown.
It's shown in so many ways, both sides of the relationship, the manager believing in them and the belief that they feed off. You know, on both sides, you can see there's a clear relationship being established at this football club. Last year, there wasn't an identity on the park, and it felt like there was no identity with the players and the manager. And now I know that the team has changed so much, and we've got so many new faces, and so many players have also left, but it just feels like there is this relationship, it's just pouring through everywhere, and it shows in the park each and every week, and I'm absolutely for it at the moment. I love it. But let's try and talk a little bit about the game itself, the football that was played in the park, because we need to break down some of that and talk about what was one of, Ryan, and usually I give you into trouble for jumping in. Usually I give you into trouble for jumping head over heels and going in two-footed with statements, but dare I say, it could have been one of the best, maybe the best derby performances in our lifetime.
It's my favourite one I've been to, and I would put that ahead of the 5-1, just due to the team that we were playing against, because last season we heard all this about this team being unstoppable, this group of players being special, and obviously most of them are Gerrard signings. In fact, all of them are Gerrard signings. I'm trying to think of other players. Sands didn't play.
Ramsey never played.
And
so.
Ramsey shat it, so... well, he did. One guy had a facial injury, another guy just wasn't fit enough to play. It's levels to this game, unfortunately. I'm absolutely loving it. Every bit of content against him, love it. Let's see if he's up for Hearts at the weekend. I doubt it. I can't even remember what I was saying. I was just buzzing.
We'll talk about what were we talking about? What was I bringing in there? I was just talking about. What was I talking about? I've actually just gone full on mind blank because you've thrown.
Brought me in. We keep on talking about this rebuild. I mean, but compared to last season, it's an upgrade rather than a rebuild. All these players, there's this new sense of hunger in the players. Look at guys like Juranovic. Juranovic has only been here half a year. He's going about that pitch as if he's been captain for 5 years. We've got 5 or 6 captains on that pitch as well. So many leaders, and guys are just feeding off this confidence, this new confidence. And the players that were there last season are now feeding off this confidence. I know that Callum McGregor's the captain, but he's playing like a completely different player this season. It's incredible to watch.
I remember what we were talking about being one of the best derby games that we've
Oh
been
yeah,
to
it was
in
the
a
best.
long, long time. And one thing, look, listen, I sit down here and I've said this exact same thing on my review the other night. I have came on for the last two, I've came on for the last 5 years and been incredibly fair in what I say. I've said it how I've seen it, and when I've had to give the other team credit, I've gave the other team credit. But that performance I watched the other night was one of the best from Celtic, but it was also so reminiscent of the same cowardly, scared, nervous, and just overall poor Rangers side a few years ago, a Rangers side that couldn't deal with an ounce of pressure. Every single one of their players looked scared on Wednesday night, Ryan. And that's not just out how bad they were, that's because how fucking good we were. That was because of
Yeah,
players like Juranovic chasing players up and
I
down
love
that park. Ryan Kent never had a sniff. Amad Diallo, there was people in England tuning in to see him tear Celtic apart when Greg Taylor fucking pocketed him. We've seen players like all these attackers and defenders, Barisic, Tavernier, they told us they were good. But the minute an ounce of pressure that was on them on Wednesday night, they
crumbled.
folded. They
Yep,
folded.
absolutely. They really, really did. After 4 minutes, you saw the body language from certain players. Seen it from Barisic, and he was obviously one of the best players playing against us in multiple games last season and the
Yeah.
season before. The guy was scared. He didn't want to be there. His counterpart, his Croatian counterpart, was feeding off of it, and
Yep.
and Barisic was scared. No wonder he came off at half time.
Yep.
He'd been violated in that first half from a batter.
I'm
Honestly,
glad they got. I'm glad they got a seat for the third goal, right enough. I gave him a wee break.
he certainly did. I seen the video of James's sit down to him cowering, which
Brilliant.
was absolutely brilliant. I was
Brilliant.
loving, that performance from Rangers the other night reminded me of Celtic last season. I felt like
Yeah.
we've done a complete 180 on them. They looked terrified against us, and they should be terrified because the tempo that we play at, when we play at that tempo, no team can deal with us. Leverkusen could hardly deal with us. We were
Uh,
unlucky to get
one
beaten that
thing,
time.
one thing I was happy about seeing today is I seen the comments from Gio Van Bronckhorst's press conference, and he was
Oh,
talking about how it's all about he just needs to get the team play. He needs to be doing if he wants to keep playing like that, if he wants to try and make that the kind of way they face up to this Celtic side, and that's the football they want to try and play, and they want to try and be slow, and ain't gonna work. And I'm looking forward to seeing it more often. Look, ultimately, one thing I want to say as a disclaimer before we go any further is all of this could be meaningless by the weekend. Celtic, of course, need to follow up on this. We need to go and
absolutely.
beat Motherwell. We have to go and beat Aberdeen at Pittodrie. But right now, there's one side with momentum on their side. There's one team who have the upper hand, and there's one team that looks as though they're capable of going on this season and winning that title. The other, from the way they performed on Wednesday, the way they performed against Ross County, there's an imminent collapse nearly there. You know what I mean? So it could all change, and I'm hoping it does it. But right now, I'm just speaking of what we've seen on Wednesday night. But Ryan, there's so many players to be buzzing about on that park on Wednesday. Rio Hatate. My goodness, God
Frightening.
Almighty! How have we landed ourselves? If he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's not going to be a Celtic player in 2 years' time.
No, definitely not. Well, how much did we pay for him? 1.4 million.
Yeah, I think so.
That's frightening. And for a guy that's strolling about that pitch, half fit, because Ange says he isn't fully fit yet, he's not up to his optimum peak. That's quite frightening when he's going to be
Frightening.
fully fit. I mean, he's already bossing games. Although to be fair, I thought O'Reilly was probably better than him as in terms of a complete game.
O'Reilly was absolutely tremendous, wasn't he?
But the thing is, Hatate, you can't complain when a guy gets 2 goals and an assist. I mean, the
Yep.
numbers are there, but he wasn't the only one that was outstanding that night. There wasn't anybody that wasn't outstanding the other night. I think it was a whole team performance. As much as I want
Yeah.
to talk about individual players, the collective as a team was absolutely phenomenal. But Hatate is a star in the making.
Yeah.
But he's a star just now.
He's one of those players that I think, judging off his early performances so far, he's going to go down as one of those players, a Virgil van Dijk type player in this league. You know, a player that leaves this league, a Victor Wanyama, a Virgil van Dijk. All these guys that have gotten their moves and they've came up here and they've had 2 or 3 years of absolute brilliance. Musa Dembele, players like that. I think that we have truly, genuinely found a player like that in Ryu Hatate. And I'm hoping he does continue. I don't want to jinx anything, touch wood and all the rest of it, but you can just, and we said this exact thing in the podcast, when you see a player, you know they're a player.
Yeah.
This isn't one or two, oh, he got lucky. No, this guy is a player, Ryan, and I think this is something that's going to be huge for Celtic in the years to come.
He he's broke Morelos' goal record in Celtic Rangers games in, what was it, 40, 42, 43 minutes.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean,
Uh,
it's just the level, isn't it? This guy is. I mean, his second goal, the way he celebrates, it's Cantona-esque. I heard somebody on a podcast say, and he's right.
that
Does
is,
keep
he's
about.
right. Yeah.
This is my place now. Give him the keys to the city because this boy owns Glasgow now. He's so
It's just
unassuming
like,
as well. He's got a wee bit of confidence, but he looks a bit shy as well.
yeah,
It's that sort of nature that a lot of these Japanese players have. Not to generalise them, of course, but it's just their character and their nature. It's just brilliant, and we're all buying into it.
yeah.
They've integrated so well into the setup, and I can't wait to see other players such as Maeda and Gucci when he comes back, showing what they can do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the four of them can really be superstars at Celtic.
They can be, and I think obviously we've already seen Kyogo Furuhashi and his rise to prominence in this division,
He was
and
even
how
playing
good
the other
he's
night.
been.
They beat them 3-0.
I know exactly. You put Kyogo on the pitch the other night, and you know you don't know what else happens. You don't know how many more you get. Big shout out to Georgia Shakimakis though, because I thought he was a handful against Rangers. I thought he roughed them up, and he done everything I expected him to do using his physicality. Talking about that midfield three though, Ryan, we can't underestimate and undervalue the importance of our captain Callum McGregor. We've already alluded to him and how important he is and how good he is. It doesn't matter if he's got a face that Chris Boyd wants to see broken or not. He's still going to tear the opposition apart. It was absolutely tremendous. His comments the other day, every single one of them would play with a broken face if they had to. So why am I any different? Callum McGregor laying down the law. He's a Celtic man through and through, isn't he? He's just, you know, we spoke about how we could ever follow on from the great captaincy of Scott Brown. He had a fantastic teacher, to be fair, in Scott Brown, but the Padawan is quickly becoming the master.
I know. Don't want to make any quick judgments already in terms of where he stands in terms of captains, but he's doing a really, really good job so far. But he's a completely different captain. He's a modern captain, I would say. He doesn't need to be shouting, although I know he was shouting certain things to certain players.
That is tremendous.
That's
Absolutely
my
tremendous.
favourite bit of media from the other night.
Yeah.
That's just the turnaround from last season as well, because remember in the last one he gets sent off for a silly tackle.
That's right.
But look at him now.
But listen, it's mental. It's mental the difference a crowd makes, mate. It's like last year was a fever dream. This is real life now. This is proper football.
No, I asked
but McGregor being back.
No, I'm not even going to get in that. I can already see the comments.
Don't go too far.
No, absolutely. But no, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And you see the difference when he's brought back. It just shows you levels that certain players don't want to play in this fixture and other players do. Other players want to rush back. And even Maeda, who came off the bench, he rushed back. He was playing for Japan the day before, and he was desperate to come back. Even Ange was alluding to it in the pre-match, saying he knows what player Maeda's like. If he's got a chance to play in this game, he'll play. He didn't necessarily say that, but you could read between the lines. You knew that Maeda's that sort of player that would run through brick walls for his manager. And Cal McGregor's the same. And that's feeding off into every single one of the players. They're all feeding off of Ange's energy and the leaders around the team's energy. And I'm absolutely loving every bit of it. He's a captain, that's for sure. Nobody has any doubts about Cal McGregor being a captain now. He's just this silent sort of assassin, and he's absolutely brilliant.
He is absolutely brilliant, and I love him, and I love every single member of that team right now. Everybody's playing.
This team.
They are. It's just Ryan. Just to summarise what I wanted to do, if I sat down and told you about this a year ago, you could never have pictured it in a million years. The transformation, the quick turnaround, and everything, it's unbelievable. I've actually just seen this, the quotes just came out there on the BBC literally 6 minutes ago. This article was published, and I'm going to throw it up on screen. Ange Postecoglou talking to the media today, he doesn't even think we are playing our best football yet, which is just scary. This is the quote before I bring you in, Ryan. I always try to coach a team to reach its peak at the end of the year. The reason for that is my history in the beginning in Australia, where to be a champion you have to win a grand final at the end of the year. I've maintained it throughout my career because I think that's when, for the most part, things get decided. Everyone was delighted the way it went. Very quickly players get into recovery mode and get ready for the next challenge. The end goal was never to be on top in February. The end goal is to be on top when it counts, and on Wednesday night we did push a little bit closer to that goal, but we're not there yet. I mean, if that's not our best football yet, this team is going to be scary fucking good in a few months' time.
Now, you've got to think, what if the people in Australia, all the analysts in Australia, all the analysts in Japan, what do they all say about Ange Postecoglou teams? The
Yep.
first year is when he cuts his teeth. The second year is when you start seeing results. See if we're going to only start to see results in the second season. What is this season? Because this is incredible what's going
Yep.
on. I don't know if this is Ange Mark II. He just gets instant results in the first season, but this bedding in period is pretty good, by the way.
It's no bad, aye.
I'm loving every bit of this, every bit of this journey. And for a rebuild season, I wasn't expecting us to be this good. I wasn't expecting us to be on top so quickly. But you know what? Bring it on. We welcome the chase, as they like to say across the city. I'm loving this. I'm loving feeling confident talking about Celtic, and I have felt confident feeling about Celtic. Talking about Celtic, and there has been a couple of false dawns because we've had a couple of really disappointing results. Remember, I was buzzing after the 6-0 games, and then we had the disappointments against Livingston and Dundee United. But I feel like this is the start of something now. I think the false dawns are over. I'm really, really excited about where this team can go. And you know what? Bring on whatever the future holds. It's getting to the point where you're already buzzing for like a summer transfer window because you don't know what he's got next up his sleeve. It's nice being positive about Celtic after that terrible season last season, but
Mm-hmm.
do you know it was almost all worth it for what we've got now.
Yeah, and listen, there'll be undoubtedly Rangers fans who'll be probably watching this video, listening to what we're saying and giving it the old, oh, we're still the champions pattern, or you don't know what's about to hit you, and this, that, the next thing. Listen, it has been a long fucking 2 years. I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to be as confident as I like at this moment in time. I've not felt like this on YouTube for a while. I had years of just getting to glow, love it, and be confident in Celtic, and see things how they are and the Celtic side of things. Last season, I couldn't do that. So at this
No,
opportunity, I would take that. Right, this is the first time, really, since you've joined in the podcast, since you've been sort of on the media side of things, and that you've really got to celebrate moments like this.
no, because I learned a lot last year about how it feels to be on the other end of the other end of things, and it's really really not nice at all. Even talking
Yeah.
about it, sort of like a journalistic sort of sense, writing negatively about Celtic, I don't get any high off of it whatsoever. It
Mm-hmm.
hurts because I'm an avid Celtic fan. That's what I'm first and foremost, and I'm never ever going to hide that. There's no chance of that. But it's it's nice to be on the other end now and be positive about something that's happening because I genuinely believe that something special is happening at Celtic. Now, I said this about Brendan Rodgers before, and it was special because we got the invincible treble in the first season. But I just feel like this is different. I don't think I know Brendan Rodgers was this sort of Celtic man, but I don't think there's been this sort of connection with a manager since maybe Martin O'Neill or Tommy Burns
Mm-hmm.
between fans and manager. There seems to be this cohesiveness, which is absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait to see it grow more and more because I'm absolutely loving this. I'm actually running out of words to say because I'm so positive about Celtic at the moment. I just can't wait for the next game, and I've not
And
said that. Well, I can't wait for the next game.
let's hope it stays like that. I'm going to wrap it up there for today's sort
Oh,
of catch
really?
up.
I can talk
Uh,
for another hour.
You, you want another hour? We'll have a podcast hopefully very, very soon where we can talk about so much more and talk about everything in a bit more depth. I'm not sure when the podcast will be because this week is sort of threw us a spanner with a 1:30 Sunday kickoff. So we'll need to wait and see what happens. I'll be back tomorrow for the preview for the Motherwell game and we'll talk a little bit more on that about how Celtic need to carry on this momentum. But McKinley, I look forward to the Celtic. I look forward to seeing what Kieran Auld has to say. Callum Craig as well. But you know, Kieran Auld, I was with him the other night, and oh Christ, he was mangled. He was just living life, and that's just how we're all feeling at the moment. I
You
think.
know things. I love the boy.
Yes, exactly. Right. Thank you everybody for watching. Ryan McGinley, thank you very much for joining me.
Bother.
And I will see you all next time.